morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for our February virtual user group. Today, we're talking about the seamless deployment and unleashing the power of WebFOCUS Container Edition. We've got a great lineup today. Some familiar names on the line that you guys will see: Sachin, Pranay, and Ram, and myself. I'll let the guys introduce themselves here shortly, kind of give a little background about themselves and what they do here with IBI. But we've got an all-star lineup for you. They've got a lot of great information to share with you today. So before I turn it over to them, a couple of things I'd like to go over with you guys, some housekeeping, and then a couple of customer resources that we always like to remind you guys that are available. If you have any questions today for our presenters, please utilize the Q&A feature. That is where we will be monitoring all the questions and answering those for you guys. Today's webinar is being recorded, so you guys will have access to that. After the presentation, after we conclude today, I will get that recording out to you. Any slides that are shared today, any presentations, I also will include a copy of those, okay? So with that, let's get started. Again, some resources I'd like to go over with you guys. The IBI.com website. If you are new with working with IBI, new to your organization, or just haven't been out there yet, we do encourage you to head out to the new IBI.com, take a look around, and get all of the information that you may need. Out there, we have access to, for our events, our in-person and virtual events. You can find our data sheets out there, product news, the blogs, the resource library. We also have links that go to our documentation site, your IBI support if you need to put in a ticket, our e-delivery, the community, and all of the other IBI goodness that we are putting together and bringing to you. So always remember, IBI.com is a stop for you when you're looking for your information. Like I said, you can access our support portal out there from our website at support.ibi.com. In this portal, you will have those useful links, those documentation, the product downloads, new product notifications are posted out there. And then, of course, the assistance from your technical representative. So if you are looking to put in a ticket and need some help, please head out to support.ibi.com. Our e-delivery, so the e-delivery portal, if you guys are interested in how to navigate this or search for your product to download or choose all the products, you can do that through the e-delivery. That does still technically live under the tipco.com up here. We will be working to obviously get that changed over to IBI, but for now, it still does live here. But again, it is for IBI, so you will be able to navigate and get the IBI products that you're looking for. Our webinars, if you guys are interested in our virtual user groups, our Focus Fridays, and any other webinars that we are putting together, you also can access those out there and register for those. We have them under the events tab. And then if you are unable or miss one of our webinars or Focus Fridays or virtual user groups, we do post them in the on-demand section. So right next, as you can see on the screen, right next there in that blue box is on-demand webinars. So you can go through and any that you might have missed or just want to go back to refresh, you do have access to all of those recordings. Speaking of events, our Summit Roadshow, save the date. We are headed to New York in October. So if you guys are interested in joining us for our Summit Roadshow, we'd love to see you there. You know, these roadshows were such a hit last year. This provides you in-person training. You get access to our product experts. It's a great way to network with your community and your peers. So we highly encourage you guys, if you're able to please come and attend. I promise you it'll be worth it. We're happy to discuss more details with you. Registration will be opening soon. And not to mention that this is the 50th anniversary for IBI. So the roadshows are holding a little extra something special for you guys. And so we're really excited about this year to celebrate 50 years of IBI. So if you're interested in more information or need to know more, please let me know. I'm happy to have those discussions with you. But again, just want to put this out there for save the date right now for New York in October. The community. We always want to remind you guys about the community that is available. If you have not signed up to be a part of the community, we do highly, highly encourage you to. This is a great place to go get connected with your IBI experts and other IBI users. A lot of great conversations going on out there, a lot of great articles being posted from our experts where you guys can, get that material and that content that you're looking for. So again, if you have not signed up or registered to be out there, please do so. Again, and even networking with your own peers, and there's a lot of threads going there where people have asked questions and you guys answer, so you're even learning from each other. So again, join the community if you haven't. As I mentioned, we have the articles out there. They're all usually right there at the top, easy access for you guys to get to. And then I do want to give you guys an IBI education update. We have posted some updates like in the community. One went out in the newsletter yesterday if you guys saw that. But just a quick update. Our new education platform is launching in March. We're super excited. We're coming out with at least 47 courses. As soon as you guys join, you'll have 47 courses available across our 3 platforms. There will be 8 in analytics, 14 in mainframe, and 25 in the data intelligence. We will be adding new courses each quarter, so there will be constantly new content coming in. We're super excited about that for y'all. Existing users, you guys who have had activity within the past year, will just be migrated over to the platform. If you have not done anything in a year or longer, or you are just new altogether, there will be registration details for you guys at a later date. So those are coming soon. But we do want to give you guys an update. I know we've been talking about education for a couple of months now, and we are excited to say that you're almost there, just a couple of more weeks, and the platform will be launched. And you guys can get in there and start taking these courses and looking at some of the curriculum that our team has so tirelessly put together. I think you guys will be very pleased. So that's the education update. Getting social, if you guys are on any social media, we'd love to have a follow, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. We do post out there regularly, giving you guys updates of what's going on in IBI world. We also post the recordings to our YouTube channel. So another way that you guys can view past recordings, user groups, Focus Fridays, things like that are out on the new YouTube channel. So give us a follow. And if you're not receiving our emails, please let me know so I can make sure that you are on our list. Yesterday, perfect example, our February newsletter went out. So if you did not receive that, if you wouldn't mind, please shoot me a quick note so I can check to make sure you are signed up, that you are getting our emails, our invites, our newsletter, all things IBI related, so that you guys can stay in the know. Hannah could not join us this morning, so I'm going to quickly talk very, very briefly on the WebFOCUS upgrade program. She was going to come on and talk with you guys, but I'm going to do it for her real quick. So moving to WebFOCUS 9.3, for those of you who have yet to make the move to WebFOCUS 9.3, there's never been a better time to do so now. You will get access to everything that you see in today's virtual user group, plus the modern authoring tools in WebFOCUS Designer, the new Reportcaster, and the new AI engine debuted in WebFOCUS 9.3.3. So super excited about that. I'm sure some of you are thinking, where do you begin? So there have been requests from many of you for like a guided path to upgrade to the newest version of WebFOCUS. And so that's why we built this WebFOCUS upgrade program. So it has the tools to give you that smooth pathway to the latest release. And this does include the discovery tool that provides you with an overview of your environment, and a self-assessment, which provides you with the initial scoring. So if you guys are interested, that's kind of the first step that you will take. And then after that, then you get access to a free workshop led by our partner Amtex, and you'll get a tailor upgrade recommendation from that. And we stay with you through every step of the process. And we are looking forward to working with you guys on it. So if you are interested in, upgrading to WebFOCUS 9.3, Hannah would love to have a chat with you guys. I believe, yep, right here, there is on our website, there is a register for the program, easy access here, or you can just click through this link, which again, I will share with you guys after the meeting. So if you want to have more discussion around this, contact Hannah Knox, and she will be more than happy to get you guys ready, set, and go for the upgrade program. All right, with that, I am going to turn it over to the guys to start their presentations today. As always, if you guys need anything from us, we are here for you, so please don't hesitate to reach out. All right, Sachin, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, Shay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I hope you can see my screen.
We can, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So welcome again. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Sachin Sancheti. I'm a product manager at IBI. I have been part of IT industry for about 14 plus years and I've been working with TIPCO and IBI for about 8 plus years. At IBI, I oversee product management of report caster component and container edition of IBI WebFOCUS. But today I'll be wearing container edition hat. And to help me today with me, we have Pranay Shah, who is distinguished senior engineer, and Ramanuj, who is a principal engineer. These two guys are backbone of WebFOCUS Container Edition. So privileged to have them here. So let's get started with the webinar. So these are initial confidentiality disclaimer and IBI slides. So I'll just skip them and we'll start with the agenda directly. So firstly, I'll talk about exciting offering we call WebFOCUS Container Edition and its high-level features, which makes it a go-to option if you are looking for a self-hosted cloud-native BI solution. And then I'll cover one-stop support utility, that is WebFOCUS Health Check tool and its features. If as a customer you are migrating from on-prem to container edition, it is important to understand the performance of container edition compared to on-prem, right? So we'll cover WebFOCUS C performance as well. And then Pranay and Ram will help us with the hands-on part of the webinar. So firstly, Pranay will demo how to deploy WFC using shipped images. That will cover how to download those images, load and use them. This is our fastest and happy part deployment. And if you're an advanced user, if you want to make some changes or do some customization, Ram will cover that part. He'll help you, or he'll showcase how to connect to external DBs, how to make some complex customization. And then if you are an already existing WFC customer and you want to upgrade to the latest and greatest 9.33 release, Ram again help you with quick demo of how to upgrade to the latest version. And of course, we'll have a question and answer. So feel free to type in your question in between presentation. We'll try to answer them, or towards end, we'll try to answer them as and when possible. So without further ado, let's get started. So in today's world, cloud computing is not a unknown term anymore. Most of the organization are moving to cloud, be it a single public cloud or a multi-cloud environment. And this shift towards cloud computing offers benefits such as flexibility, data security, reduce upfront cost, scalability, and simplified IT management. Cloud platforms have become an integral part of IT infrastructure, and we are as IBI are here to support our customer requirements and to offer and to support. We offer comprehensive solution with container edition, and we call it as a IBI WebFOCUS Container Edition. So I'll talk about high-level features of Container Edition. It leverages the same leading edge technologies of private cloud or on-prem. It also integrates with your DevOps pipeline for faster deployment or upgrade or migration. So let's talk about each of those features in more details. So firstly, we'll talk about platform support, because if you are migrating from on-prem, you need to know what all platforms we support, right? So for deployment, we support all market leading and latest container orchestration technologies such as Kubernetes and Docker Compose. Our container images are built to run on any OCI, that is Open Container Initiative compliant runtime. So they are very much flexible to run on any or most of the Kubernetes platforms. To name few, we have certified our product on market leading Kubernetes services such as AWS EKS, Google Kubernetes Engine, Microsoft Kubernetes services, etc. We support Red Hat OpenShift too. Also, our most of the customer on-prem customer are on Windows platform. So if they want to try out their hands on Container Edition, we don't enforce them to move to newer platform. We support Container Edition on Windows subsystem Linux, that is WSL. So they can try out their hands on it on Container Edition on using WSL itself. And not to mention, we support Container Edition. This Container Edition supports hybrid cloud strategies as well. So you can have your WebFOCUS on cloud, and if you want to connect to external database which is on-prem, it is very much doable, possible. Next important point is cost effectiveness. So in cloud platforms or environments, one of the main reason for budget wastage is over in provisioning. Even in case of on-prem, we, in considering the max possible load, we tend to over provision, right? So in Container Edition, we leverage the horizontal pod scaling. We call it as a HPA feature of Kubernetes, where a customer can define minimum and maximum number of pods they want to scale based on the parameters such as CPU, memory, etc. So based on those parameters, they can scale up or down number of pods, replicas, and that thus they save the cost. But we are not using this feature as is. We have improvised it. So we have introduced custom metrics where combination of these parameter like CPU, memory, and total request. Using these parameter, we calculate load index, and then using load index, customer can define their HPA strategy. So let's say if your load index is less than 3, you scale down. If your load index is more than 7, you scale up. So that's how you balance out your number of pods or replicas, and then that's how you scale, you save the cost. So these features significantly saves infrastructure cost by using auto scaling and IOC, that is infrastructure as code. Next is faster deployment. So starting 930, we started shipping pre-built images. So WebFOCUS Container Edition can now be deployed within 4 to 5 easy steps. It hardly takes like around 15-20 minutes. So, and this can be seamlessly made part of your automation or integration CI/CD pipeline. So within minutes, customer can deploy their code or application in their staging environment or production. Of course, as it is, it can be integrated or made a part of automation. They support upgrade and migration as well to promote your code from lower environment to production environment. Container Edition is very much secured as well. It supports air gap installation. So in case your organization demands that your computer network should be physically isolated from unsecured network or external local network, sorry, external unsecured network, what you can do is you can download all your prerequisite softwares, install them, and then WebFocus C can be installed without connecting to the outside network, unsecured network. And then we run our images, and we support latest RHL UBI 9.x and we upgraded Java to support Java 11 as well. So we always support latest technology, so that way Container Edition is much more secured. And else, in case there are CVEs, being a Container Edition, each component runs as a separate image. So if there is a CV in particular image, you can always take it down, you can rebuild image, and you can redeploy. So easy turnaround for CVs as well. So there are tons of other features about Container Edition, but I'll name few noticeable features as well. So at times, deploying Container Edition could be tricky in case it's self-hosted. So customer has to take care of the installation and deployment. So we have developed in-house WFC health check tool for pre and post deployment checks. So it helps for checking prerequisite permissions, and if there are any issues, it helps troubleshoot them. I'll talk about that in depth in next slide. Next, uh, we support and we keep WebFocus C in sync with the on-prem. So all there is a feature parity in all those releases, so there is no feature gap. So if you are on a on-prem and if you want to container edition, you can move to the same release and you'll have all the features on container edition as well. As a container edition, we support open source technologies and tools, and one such tool is Velero. So this tool helps customer take timely backups on regular basis or a daily basis, and this tool can be, or this process can be made part of your CI/CD as well, and this helps restoration as well. And then uh, lastly, if as I said, we support hybrid deployments as well, right? Hybrid cloud as well. So in case you want to connect to your external databases, we have certified and documented those steps in our official documentation to support databases such as Oracle, Solar, MySQL, etc. So this is high level features of IBA WebFOCUS Container Edition. Pranay, Ram, do we have any questions as of now, or should I move to next slide?
You do, actually. So Container Edition is a WebFOCUS cloud solution. Didn't this already exist? My shop is on-prem, by the way, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Okay. So okay, maybe
So I guess he's asking, this is a cloud solution?
no, it's not a cloud solution. It's a self-hosted solution. We are not hosting it for yourself. For customers, customers will have to like host and maintain and manage that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one more here. I haven't seen or mentioned yet of having a connection to an external Azure data lake storage. Does this support connection to ADLS?
Uh, as far as I know, we haven't verified or certified it. But then I can go back to my team. We can verify and we can certify in next release. That shouldn't be an issue. Uh, Pranay, Ram, do you have any?
I think I would say it's these are all the adapters that we support in WebFocus. So if the WebFocus supports connecting to data lake and Azure, I think then Container Edition will support that as well. So
Exactly.
Container Edition is you can imagine running the on-prem version on the cloud. So anything and everything that WebFocus supports connecting to, these are mainly the adapters. And if one of them is Azure Data Lake, then yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah. And but then further, if you want us to be certified, and we should be able to, or happy to do it. Yeah. Okay.
I think there is
So
one more question about Oracle Cloud. I think that's one thing that the team has not tried yet.
right.
But we'll be more than happy to try it out, and if that is something that you would like us to test it out.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so now I'll talk about, as I discussed in the previous slide, I'll talk about high-level features of WebFocus C health check tool. So it helps with the pre-post deployment checks, and it helps troubleshoot issues if there are any during deployment or even after post deployment, right? We bundle this utility in the product or installer itself, and it can be run from the server. Uh, so even if you are on the Kubernetes cluster, it should be able to help you debug or troubleshoot issues. So I'll talk about this feature. So these features can be divided into three parts. So one is like before image building, before deployment, and after deployment. So in before image building, this tool helps you check user permissions if the customer has or a user has a sufficient permission to build images. If not, it will list down what all permissions are missing. Similarly, it can check for prerequisite software install, whether software tools like Helm charts are installed or not. It can list down that, and then it can check hardware requirements as well, if there is a sufficient storage or not. And it also help you check accessibility to Docker Hub registry if you want to pull the images and all. So this covers before image building pre-checks. For before deployment, It can perform prerequisite check for deployment needs. It can validate local hem files and even a remote cluster, Kubernetes cluster as well. It verifies all components if they are properly configured in the Kubernetes cluster. It checks for all the user permission if user has create, edit, or delete permission. It validates image pool policies as well. And then if you are using external components such as Solar, Postgres, it can validate connectivity to those components as well. And after deployment, it supports like once the deployment or once the WebFOCUS C is deployed, it validates the deployment. It lists down all the logs using collect log command. It ensures all the WebFOCUS C components are up and running and also confirms their connectivity. So this is after deployment, and during and after deployment, if you want to check the performance of the WebFOCUS C, there is a one command called top. So it will monitor all the CPU and memory usage of the pods, all cluster at once. And there are other features as well. So there is a command, describe command, which shows the overall health of the WebFOCUS C components running in the cluster. And in case customer want to upgrade from the lower version to the latest version, we have a command called check upgrade or a run upgrade. So check upgrade commands check for all possible options. It validates if our configuration and cluster environment is okay to upgrade, or if he has any potential upgrading issues. So it will list it down, and if there are no issues, using upgrade command or run upgrade, customer will be able to upgrade the setup. So Pranay will talk about that this utility more in his demo. I'll move on to the next slide. So as I said, if customer is trying to move from on-prem to cloud environment, we know cloud environment is cost effective, it is scalable, but at the same time we have to make sure that the performance is at par. We are not compromising or impacting performance for the sake of scalability and cost effectiveness, right? So what we have done, we have done WebFOCUS C performance comparison with on-prem, and where we executed like 5 to 6 different scenarios for multiple concurrency for a single user to up to 20 users. And what we observe here, I have listed down one scenario where we launch WebFOCUS, we log in, we go to workspaces, and we launch retail samples for portals, and then we log out. So what we observe is that WebFOCUS C performance is on par, if not better, compared to the on-prem, and same goes for the resource utilization, CPU and memory utilization as well. So here you can see in the graph, latency response time is on par, and so is the so is the CPU performance as well. And then we Postgres graph is not there, but then we compare Postgres DB performance as well, and even that Postgres DB performance was at par with the on-prem. So we guarantee that when if you are upgrading or you're migrating to container edition, you're not compromising on performance, and with that you are reducing the cost and making it more scalable. Of course, caveat, we have performed this test in very specific environment, and we made sure that all the test conditions are consistent and similar across both environments. So these are more like a guidelines. Okay, so I hope whatever part I have covered, this is at least I'm excited about containerization, and I'm sure this excites you guys as well. So as Shay covered, if you are ready to move, we already have an upgrade program available. Go to ibi.com, check for an upgrade program, register yourself. You should get access to discovery tool. It will help you analyze your environment. It will give you complexity index, and then with that our support team will be able to help you upgrade or migrate to the container edition, and we will always be there alongside you in upgrade and migration journey. So I hope this excites you, and hope to see you on container edition very soon. So before taking further time, I'll hand over to Pranay to hands-on live demo where he'll cover uh, deployment using SIP images, shift images, and Ram will cover image customization and upgrade. So Pranay, over to you.
Hey, thanks. Yes. Okay. Okay. I believe you guys see my slides.
Yes, Pranay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hey guys, by the way, my name is Pranay. Been with IBI for last 4 or 5 years, and with TIPCO more than 20 years. So been there many different jobs and many different roles. In last few years, managing and maintaining the team for the Container Edition, the DevOps team, and I think some of you guys, I've been talking to you guys as well. I think I see some familiar names in the chat as well. So happy to be here and take your questions. And my goal here is to make sure that in next 30 minutes, I quickly give you overview about what all has been new or we've been working on to make adoption of Container Edition easy and seamless. Um, so before just get into the quick agenda, what I'm going to show and tell you guys is going over shipped images. That is something that we've been working very hard from last 1 year, and finally we have it now from, I would say, last 4 or 5 months. So I'm going to go over how do you get that, how do you get the container images out of it, and then what you're going to do after that. And we're going to have a quick demo about how to use this shipped images. We'll be using mainly the WebFOCUS CE tool that Sachin mentioned, and we'll do the entire demo using that. So that's the roadmap of my demo. Now, the first question is, I'm sure many people are asking, why do we ship images? Or what was the need of shipping the images, and how do you guys do it, and what do you guys do? Can you give us some insight in how are you guys are building the images so that when you guys get it, you have a confidence that this has gone through a set of check before you guys get hold of it. So before we jump on to shipped images, I would like to just reiterate on 6 major points that I think emphasize and gives you a bit of piece of information that probably you can take it back to your team about why you should be using container images, correct? And this is the definition I think I found that uh, covers all of them. And let me just read it out. So the container images is lightweight, standalone, and executable software package. So if one thing that, if anybody asks you what is a container images, it's basically a software distribution uh, system. Basically, it's a one more package manager that I would say in the last 10 years industry has come up with that probably serves and solves many issues. So it includes everything: software, operating system, system tools, library, and the settings. So it's basically a blueprint of running stuff in containerized environment, and it ensures consistency across multiple development deployments. What it means is basically what we run it and what we test it, you're gonna get the exactly same if you run it as it is. And that was, I've been in the support as well, and that was the wish list we had in back in 2005, 10. Can I just give a software that I tested and I work and give it to customer, and at least it runs on the first try on their setup, and then they can customize it. Container Edition containers makes that possible, absolutely possible. And then when the container run it, it becomes the container images. When you run it or when you execute it, becomes a container, and it runs in isolation as well, and which is also a one more pet peeve of a lot of support engineers. There are chatty neighbors, there are chatty processes, there are needy processes running on the same machine that eats up your CPU or the memory from your application, and you would like to probably draw a box saying, hey, this is my CPU, this is my memory, and the container as well gives you that. And the last but not least, whatever runs on a developer setup or the developer machine is exactly the same thing is going to run on your production. So whatever I see or show you today will run on your laptop, will run on same on the production as well. So I would say it's one of the best case scenario that we can ask for any software distribution system. So with the definition out of the way, Sachin, just remind me if there is any question. Otherwise I'll keep going.
No, there are no questions yet.
Yeah. So shipped images, why? Why do we do it? And I think the questions a lot of customers were asking is like, why are you guys are not doing it? Because I think it solves a few issues that I think we saw there's an hindrance to adoption of container edition. Okay, the first was expertise were required. Basically, you needed somebody who can build images, understand how to build images, how to run Docker build. Now that's gone. Now we just give you images pre-built. What if it fails? And this used to be an issue as well, where we give you a recipe, a Docker file that is good for December to 2024, but in February 2025 something doesn't work because one of the dependencies that we needed to build images is somehow changed, or the version is changed, or has been deprecated. All that has been now taken care because we give you image that is pre-built whenever we decided to do the product GA. And this one is also very important as well. Customers are saying that, hey, you guys are expert. You know what libraries you need. You know what are the CVs that can be affecting running the container edition or running the WebFOCUS in general. Why don't you take care of those and give me the entire software package that is clean as at least as of the day you ship this image, which is out of no CVEs, no vulnerabilities. It's good to go. It's at least kosher for me to run it. Time and resource, building the images were not taking too long, but I think more of the issue was you needed a system that constantly, continuously runs builds image, validates image, and then makes it available to your team. That's kind of now taken out as well. And of course, the frustration of sometime it gets built, sometime it doesn't build. We are able to build it. Your environment doesn't build. That entire frustration is also out of the picture now. So as well, we give you pre-built images that is consistent. Doesn't matter where you run it. So I think those are all the good things that convince us that, and we wanted to do it for many years, I would say, but finally we got approval to do it. Now, how do we do it? Again, just an insight on, and so that you guys have a confidence on how this is getting shipped to you guys, is we constantly work with the WebFOCUS dev team, and we are adopting the product as they're developed. uh, to be to give more information. Now we are all part of the same team, so it's like we are adopting the hot out of the oven product, containerize it, do a nightly build, run a image scanning every night. If there is issue, we go and address it. And the latest and the most secure images are sitting in our container registry. The day we decide to do GA, we take them out, we compress it, and ship them as a one tar file. Now, I'm sure the question comes is, hey, my other vendors or other people that I work with don't have a tar file. They just give me a public registry where I just pull the images. And I think it's a valid question. I would say that's something that we would like to get there. But as of now, working with our legal team and all the requirement that we need to abide by, what we can do is just give you a one tar file, and then you get the images from there. And I'll show you what I mean from there. So of course, if this is exciting, that's you want to know more about it, stay with me, and I'm gonna give you a quick demo about that. Now, the first question, as Sachin and Shay mentioned, how do you get this? How do you get hold of this star file or this images? So if you go to tipco.com download site, that's our new site. If you look for WebFOCUS Container Edition, you're gonna now find two tar files. So the first tar file is the CE container image container edition that you used to get before, but now you also see something called images, and then the version tar file, and that's your container images ready for you to start using it. And I'll show you what you do after that. So the first thing you do is, of course, you want to get the images out of it. It's a tar file. It's not something that your Kubernetes is going to understand or a Docker Compose is going to understand. You want to get a container images out of it. So as the documentation says, you just need to run this one command, docker load, and then you pass the file. And you can use Docker or a Podman. Again, just a little bit of intro of Podman. So Docker is a one piece of software that probably many people know it. But a Podman is also a similar set of tool that, I would say exactly matching tool that OpenShift and the IBM is promoting, which is almost the same way. And this command, this tar file works for either of them. So if you have Podman, you can use Podman. If you have Docker, you can use Docker. But the command is same, and you just run this one command and gives you this four images. I think we have a poll, I would say. Sachin, how much time do you want to give, or we can just let people answer it and I continue?
Yeah, people can continue. Like we can continue. People will take their own time.
Okay, sounds good. So again, just reiterating, you get one tar file, you run a Docker load, and you get 4 images. I want to just make sure that people understand what all is in the tar file. You don't untar it. If you untar it, you're gonna see some bunch of binary files. Let the Docker do it, and you're gonna get access to 4 Docker images. Now, the question might come is, hey, do I really need a Docker on my side since you guys are doing the Docker build and since you are building the images? I thought Docker used to be part of just for Docker building images, but as again, let me reiterate, Docker not only was used for to do the build images, but it also needs for running the images as well. So you will still need a Docker, and I'll give you, there are updates about that as well, that there are more tools coming on the horizon or already on the horizon about that is gonna not need a Docker. But currently, at least to get images extracted, if that's the right word, or loaded out of this tar file, you will need a Docker on one of the machine. So once you do that, you have Docker images, and then just business as usual. Now, the next question is, what should I do after I get these images? So of course, you can directly start deploying into your Kubernetes cluster. You can customize the images. You can tag and push it to your registry, which is most probably you're gonna do that, where you're gonna have your own internal image registry, or you could be using something that is provided but only exclusive to your team. And it will be a good idea, and I'm sure some customers who are definitely very savvy on security to rescan those images as well. That probably most of our customers do as well. So those are the 4 choices. We're going to see today deploying to Kubernetes and customizing the images. One quick side note on, as I talked about, replacement of Docker as well, which is Kubernetes, older Kubernetes, like if I say 125, which was, I would say, year or 2 year older Kubernetes, used to directly work with Docker. So if you have a Kubernetes and you have a Docker install on that machine, Kubernetes can directly load and pull the images and start using that using Docker. But starting Kubernetes 1.25 and onwards, it does not directly work with a Docker. So what it does is basically they standardize on the container runtime environment, and the container D is something that is default runtime environment that they support. It does support Docker, but is an additional step. But the good news is container D was always there. So if you look at it, older Kubernetes was using Docker, was using container D under the cover. It's still the same case. It's just that now Kubernetes directly wants to work with the container D instead of working with Docker. And what that means is, so we have an additional step in the documentation as well. And by the way, you can use a QR code directly to jump to documentation, is that you need to now copy this images from Docker into container D environment. So it's one more additional step, and we have given you the commands to do that. And you need to do it for all the 4 images that you have it on that is extracted into Docker. In order to run in container D, you do it. Now, one point that we need to be very clear about it. You do this only if you're gonna run the Kubernetes on a same machine. So it means the demo that we're gonna do that today, we're gonna use a single node. I have the Docker and the Kubernetes running on the same machine. In order for that Kubernetes, if that version is above 125, in order for it to see our images, you need to do this. If you are using container registry that is available in your infrastructure, you are going to take the Docker images that we gave you and push it there, and your Kubernetes is going to pull that. You don't need to do this. This is optional only for if you're going to use the setup that I show you today. So what are we going to see today is we're going to see a single node Kubernetes cluster running 1.28. We're going to take the two tar files that I showed you that you can get it from our download site. We're going to use WebFOCUS CE 133, which is 933, and load these images and start deploying it. Just to make it, since I got 15 minutes, I have pre-recorded demo and I'm going to quickly go over that. What I've already done it in this demo, if you're with me and if you're following this, is I have a machine, a Linux machine that has it's 8 CPU, 32 GB RAM, running Kubernetes 1.28. I have already downloaded the two tar files. I have untarred the WFCE tar file and has renamed that folder as WebFOCUS CE. And I've already gone and accepted the EULA and the customer ID. So now this is something new as well, that probably if you guys are on the older version, you don't have this, but if you are in 9.3, you have to accept the end user agreement and you need to provide customer ID. Otherwise the deployment will fail. And I think that's pretty much same as on-prem or container edition. So I have done all that. And now the steps that is left, and I'm going to demo it here, is I'm going to load the images in the Docker, and then I'm going to run this command 4 times to import them into container D. Again, as I said, this is only if you're going to do a single node cluster, this demo that I'm doing. And then I'm going to set the environment variable. Environment variable is nothing but basically the name of this images, what name I have given. You are free to name your images or tag the way you want. What is my namespace in Kubernetes? So all that is part of the environment variable. Then I'm going to use WebFOCUS C tool to do a pre-check deployment. And then I'm going to do a deployment, and then I'm going to do post-deploy check as well. Now, just like if you are like visual learner, like you want to see things probably more visually, this is probably more visual way of like what exact step we're going to perform. I'm going to quickly jump to the demo, and probably since you're going to get a slide, feel free to go over that. Now, one quick side note, just like any other WebFOCUS or DevOps team, if you see that first two steps that we just saw about loading the Docker images, running that command 4 times, being a DevOps, we just automated this. So I have an automated script that is available on public or GitHub repo that I'm going to use it. Feel free, you guys use it as well. You will get access to this slide, or you can scan the QR code and you can go to that. But it's basically taking these 4 or 5 commands that I need to run, and it just automated that. But it's more flexible. You don't need to give the tar file name. It automatically detects the tar file in the same directory and just starts extracting and then copying that into containerd as well. So why don't we just get a demo? Let me start the demo. I'm gonna make it a full screen. So what we're gonna see in this demo is that's interesting. I can't play with. Okay. I have, as I said, I have those 2 tar files. I have that helper script also downloaded. You can see on the, I have already Kubernetes 1.28 running with a containerd as a runtime. On the right-hand side, there are 2 windows where you can see the existing Docker images on my machine, and the containerd side as well has no images. Now I'm going to run the script, that is the helper script I just mentioned. There are a bunch of help commands if you want to look at it. And then I'm going to run this with the sudo. It detected the tar file in the directory, and it says, hey, should I start loading it? And you can see it is running that Docker load command that I mentioned as well. So it's doing that. It's running in the quiet mode. And in the few seconds, you will see the container images getting extracted. And on the right-hand side, you will see those images will start showing up. So Docker has started to detect that new images are available on the machine, and it starts to show you. You can see it's a 4-week-old. So that's the G8 of 133. It's been 4 weeks, but 133 has been G8. Now it says, should we start copying them into containerd? And once you say yes, it starts to run that 4 commands that I told you that you have to run for 4 times for each images. And you will see now the containerd is also starting to detect that it has a new images, and in a few seconds we should be done. Of course, this video has been fast forwarded so that we can save time. Otherwise, we would have been not finished this demo. So we are done. It runs a final verification that, hey, all the images are there. So We are done with the loading images, so that's part one of my demo. Let's go to part two. Let me run this and go to full screen. So now we're gonna run the deployment. This is the main part. So of course, the deployment, we need to use the WebFOCUS CE tool that is available in the, before we run the CE, I'm gonna export my environment variable so that I tell scripts what's my intention, where do I want to deploy, which namespace, and what are my versions of images. This is the WebFOCUS CE tool help that Sachin mentioned. We're going to use WebFOCUS CE tool to do a check on the deployment that, hey, is my deployment is going to succeed? And this checks a lot of things that for you. So it gives you a good confidence. And I would say it's a 99% chance that if this passes, your deployment is going to succeed. There are probably 1% chance that it might fail because your cluster might be behaving differently. So this is going to run a quick check. It also connects to cluster. It deploys a dummy application using one of our images. So make sure that we are able to pull images, pre-deploy check, pass. So I'm good to go. So the next thing I'm going to run is now actually a deployment. Now, one quick note on this, I'm going to pause the recording, is if you are familiar with Container Edition and you've been using Container Edition for a while, the original doc or step says you need to do two steps. Like you have to run Helm file sync from two different folder. Basically, the idea was you deploy the infrastructure, which is the Postgres and Solar and Zookeeper and everything that is needed for WebFOCUS, and then you run one more deployment that deploys the WebFOCUS part. This tool or this command runs both of that in one shot for you. So just by running WebFOCUS CE dev, like, I'm using a development environment. More on that, we can probably do it in there are previous user group session. You can go over that. What is -e dev? But the idea is I'm telling it the script that I want to run this on a development setup, which is my local laptop setup. So it's going to use different set of settings, and I'm going to run a sync on it. And this will do both the steps. So you can see it runs a check again because we want to make sure that setup is the cluster is good to go, and it starts to deploy stuff. Again, I'm fast forwarding the video, but you can see on the right hand side it starts to deploy all the prerequisites, the Solar, Zookeeper, Postgres. We are loading cut certain WebFOCUS images, populating the data, the storage that is needed, and then now it starts to deploy the cache manager, CLM, ADA server. And as you can see, as the container gets ready, on the left hand side, you can see the script is progressing as it sees that certain things are getting deployed, and eventually, here we go, we are done. After the deployment, I can do a post-deploy check. Again, this is a WebFOCUS CE tool. Again, in the action where it's actually running a post-deploy check where it says, hey, did everything got deployed as I think it should be? And it's running the post-deploy check, and it's most probably going to succeed. And so that means we are done. And now the only thing left is to open up a browser and hit the URL that it's basically a local host URL because we are running on the local machine, but it's available over the network as well. It's on a port 3180, and you get a familiar WebFOCUS screen. It's pretty much the same after this, the business as usual, that you get your WebFOCUS now deployed on Container Edition. So this is again just showing this 933 version. That concludes my demo part 2, and the part 3 is again optional. Just like any other DevOps, we would like to show you how do you can clean up as well. Of course, it's optional, but the idea is if you are done on your development setup and you think this is good and I want to just clean it up, the scripts come with the tear down steps as well. So where we can run a destroy on the setup. Same WebFOCUS CE tool, instead of sync, we're gonna run a destroy. That's gonna do the exact reverse thing. It's gonna start destroying the infrastructure first, and then it cleans up all the database schemas and everything. And then, sorry, it first destroys the WebFOCUS part, and then it does the infrastructure. So here we go. And then the script, the helper script also has a delete image command, which can delete all the images as well. So I think that is my demo. Let me just recap what we just learned. There's a question here. Yes. See, so the question is, does this health check runs with the Podman as well? And the answer is yes. The the tool is actually using APIs instead of actually tools. So it uses a Helm file API, it uses a Helm API, it uses a Kubernetes API to actually call all the commands that it needs to run. So having a Podman or a Docker on the machine, it should be able to do either of them. So the answer is yes. So I think there are more question. I'm going to jump to my recap slides. So what we covered here is, so now you know we ship images. We went through the why do we need to ship images? How are we shipping it? How does it look? Uh, we went through about how do we use these images, like, you give me the tar file, what do I do with the tar file? The idea is you use Docker to extract the images. Then we went over what do you do after images, how do you get the, like, once you have the images, what you're going to do after it. And for local cluster, if you're going to do it locally, you need to run the container D option, which is you're going to copy those images. Again, it's an optional, but we saw that as well. We saw a demo about deploying the WebFOCUS C on the local one node cluster, Kubernetes cluster. We use, excuse me, we use the WebFOCUS C tool. One second. So we use the WebFOCUS C tool to do the pre-deploy check, deployment, the post-deploy check, and the destroy as well. And we did all using WebFOCUS C tool. And last, and I'm going to hand it over to Ram now, which is what if you want to customize images? So this is where you extract the images, but now you want to add your own stuff, and Ram is going to go over that. And what are the steps involved in customizing this? So if any more question, I'll more than be happy here. I'll be here. I'll be monitoring the Q&A. But Ram, over to you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Pranay.
Few
Hi,
minutes.
my name is Ramanuj, and I'm working with IBI since last 5 years, and I have total 14 years of experience building software. Okay, let me share my screen.
I think
Oh,
we lost Ram, but
did we
yeah.
lose Ram?
No,
There
no, I
he
think I'm sure he was having a sharing issue, so
There he
he
is.
had to
Yeah,
log out.
sorry. Yeah, the Zoom didn't have the sharing permission, so I have
Yes,
to.
same here. I had the same issue. Go ahead. I knew that. Okay, go ahead.
Uh, Hopefully, you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, perfect. Okay, so as Pranay explained, you can use the script images and load the tar file and then deploy it to your cluster. Now, the next thing is you would probably want to add your new files or database drivers or jar files to the container. If you are running on a Windows, you have option. You can just copy paste. You can copy and paste to directory where Focus is installed. However, in case of container, you can still do it, but the Docker images are ephemeral. So, I mean, once the container stops and get recycled, your files will be lost. So there are two ways. Either you can copy those files to uh, persistent the mounted folder where it's persisted on a volume, so that will remain even after container or pod restarts, or something which you want to install on the base OS or the operating system itself. That can only done while building the image. Uh, or if you want to have something which will change after with every release, you can make it part of the Docker image itself. And how you can do it is like if you see this image here, you have let's say reporting server image, Docker image, and you can use this as a base image, and on top of it you can add database drivers or any library you want. The steps typically involves uh, use a script image as the base image, and then you need to create a new Docker file to build images. And uh, the product also comes with this sample Docker files. So you can use the sample Docker file to build images. Then build the image, and then the normal process, you will tag and push this image to Docker registry. And if you are running locally, then probably you don't need to push. You can uh, copy those to container D if this is container runtime, and you can deploy or you can sync using Helm file or WebFOCUS CE tool. So these are the typical steps involved: build, push, and deploy. And I have already deployed WebFOCUS C 132, which is equivalent to 932 in one cluster, and the cluster looks like something like this. So there's a cluster and there's single node cluster, and it has a WebFOCUS namespace, and it has all the required pods. It also has all the infra pods. I'm not showing it here, uh, but yeah, this is a namespace and where everything is installed up and running, and even I can access the GUI. So this is WebFOCUS, and if I show you the version, it's 132. Sorry, I clicked wrong about WebFOCUS. So it's 932. Now, probably I would like to add a database driver. So let's say I want to get data, and I want to create a database connection with Oracle database. And the image I have currently, it doesn't have a Oracle database driver. So for that, I need to rebuild the image with the Oracle database driver. And how we can do it is this way. So this is where I have downloaded and extracted WebFOCUS 132. And here, if you see the sample folder, there is two files, two Docker files. One is for uh, this is for reporting server, and this is for the client or app server. So this is the sample folder also includes steps where here you see the from, it's not using the UBI9 base image, it's using the image which we get from the script.tar file. And after this, whatever you write, that will be added as a new layer to your image. The sample file contains steps to enable Oracle database driver. And how can I can build it? So the first step is you can add some additional software here if you want. This is a sample which includes the Oracle database driver. Let me run Docker build command. So I have already built, so things are already cached, so it will be fast. So yeah, the build is done. It almost takes 1 minute, but I already have this cached in the Docker build, so it was fast. And now if I list the images, it will show there's 5 images actually. So this one I added a tag /updated. So I know this is the one which contains the Oracle database driver, and these four are the one which comes as a script image file. Now, next thing is how I can apply these changes. So I'm going to use a Helm file command. So you can either use WebFOCUS CE tool or Helm file, both works fine. So I can just see what changes I'm making here. So probably I will change this file, export defaults, and add the update tag here. And now if I say Helm file, let's see diff, and I'll check the diff, what's the difference it's making to the cluster. No change so far. But if I export the new variable, you will see the change. Okay, so as you can see, it's changing the image tag here. So that's what it will change when I deploy. So I can just say helm file as e3, and I will only update the data server. That's also possible. So I can say name equals to data server and just sync. Once this is done, okay, so if I monitor the pods here, I can just add a watch and check the pods here. Maybe I can increase this. If you can see, this pod just started, the data server. And now I can just quickly see if it does have the Oracle driver installed. So if I run this command, which will connect to container and try to execute this command, see it's working. So it has SQL plus binary, and then it was able to connect to one of the database I'm using here. So this was a quick demo about how you can customize your image. Any questions so far?
No, there's
We
nothing.
don't have any
Very good.
questions.
Okay. So next I can move to the next demo where I can show you how you can easily upgrade this one. So steps are similar as Pranay explained. You'll download the new tar file. This is 133 tar file, and the image, these two tar file. Then you will untar it, and typically you'll update these things like you'll accept EULA and add the customer ID, and then you'll also set the storage class, and then you load that all those Docker images, and optionally you can push that to registry. So I have already done that. So let me show you what image I have here. If I search for 133 images, yeah, I already have all those images available here. So the next part would be I have already downloaded and extracted the 133. So I'll just quickly show you that. Let me open. So this is 132. I will open another window which will have 133. Okay, so this one I have 133. Okay, so this is 133, and I can just run, I can export that environment variable thing. And since I already have all those images available in the cluster, I can just run helm file -e dev and sync. So basically, it syncs your the scripts and what were deployed in the cluster. So it will take around 3-4 minutes, and then your cluster will be up and running with the new version of WebFOCUS.
Ram, while this is in progress, there is one open question.
Okay.
So, what is the best way to automate the post configuration of database connection? So that you showed, right? So, is there a way we can automate that?
I
Or
think
what is
mainly
the
this looks like the connection, the connection information, not the probably jars and everything as well, but like I think they want to also have a out of the
Oh,
box connection as well. So I think probably copying those. I think it's in one of those CFG files, correct? So probably copying it part of the settings. Is that what my
it's more about adapter connection. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. What we have seen is people, since a container edition is about run once, run everywhere. You know, if the connectivity is same, you can you can embed or you can bake it into the image, or the second option is mount certain information from the Kubernetes cluster and then copy it into the file. Basically, the idea is they want to replicate and copy that adapter configuration from one setup to other, or probably have it ready-made out of the box. So the answer is, yeah, you have to basically somehow copy that file either in from the image or in the real time when the deployment happens. That will be the two things, and we can talk offline about that.
Thanks. Okay, I think that's all about my demo. So,
Okay, I guess we can use rest of the time if
No, I think we have one more. How do you customize the location of applications, profiles, and admin CFG?
is there a question? Okay.
Yeah, I think again, I think what we have seen is either put it part of the image, so then it becomes part of your pipeline, or have a post install task that can copy this stuff into the location. So have it basically a common place where all your configuration sits, and then part of the deployment, you can copy that to the proper location. So then you basically you let the vanilla WebFOCUS get deployed, and then copy your file, and that changes all the configuration on the restart basically. Ram, Sachin, do you know any other way we have seen other people using it? I think currently that, so again, the two common answer is you can put it in the image. So then every deployment will get that, if that is what you want. But if it is certain settings for certain environment and you would like to be have that on every upgrade or every deployment, then probably putting it into some kind of a config map into Kubernetes cluster might be one way, and then you run a set of file that overrides the existing configuration. But let me rephrase one thing. If you do a product upgrade, we don't overwrite anything. So things that are sitting in a persistent storage, they stay there. So you tune it once, you change it once, it stays there forever. Product upgrade just updates, replaces the binaries. That is the container images. But most of the settings are sitting into persistent volume, which we don't touch after once the product has been put and installed once. But these are good question, and I think we can probably see if we can come up with a community article that probably
Yeah.
can.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Thank you guys for the questions. Any more questions?
Yeah, we have about 15 minutes, so yeah, if you have any questions, please go ahead. We'll be happy to help.
All right. Well, it doesn't look like there's any coming in, but we'll give it just a couple more minutes, guys, if you think of anything. Thank you guys so much for the material that you shared with everyone today. This was very insightful and helpful. Again, guys, as a reminder, I will send a copy of the recording along with any materials that the presenters are sharing with you guys. That will be included in that. Following this webinar, there will be an evaluation form. So if you wouldn't mind, please filling that out for us. Any last minute questions? Oh, if we have more in-depth questions, who should we reach out to? Which of you guys want to take that? We can direct them to.
Sure, they can reach out to me, and then I'll try to answer them. If not, then I'll take it to, like, I'll discuss with Indian and reach out to a customer. So yeah, I should be the point of contact.
Okay. Yeah, so that'll be Sachin, and I can send you his contact information. All right, guys. Well, if there are no more questions, we'll give you a few minutes back to your day. Again, thank you for joining us today. We will see you next month for our March virtual user group. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, guys. Bye.